Hi, I'm Anna. Today we're going to do another circuit of the month. So today we're doing still mobility and strength, but a little bit less linear movement, so a bit more organic strength and mobility. So for this one, you won't need any equipment apart from access to a wall for one of the drills. But even if you don't have that, I'll give options for zero equipment altogether. Okay, our first drill is our rotational back bridge. So for this one, you're going to start in a squat position. Even if you need to have your heels up off the ground a little bit, that's all right. So you're going to take one hand back behind you, fingertips facing away from you, then sweeping the other arm across the body and around as you start to lift the hips. Here, the heels might come off the ground, that's fine. You'll start to rotate on the heel of the hand, take the other hand down to the floor, and then rotate all the way back out the other side, back into your squat. We'll go the other way. Heel of the hand down behind you. Sweep the other hand across the body and round. Rotate on the heel of the hand and rotate out the other side, back to the squat. So, option for a high bridge or a low bridge rotation. The one I just did was more of a high bridge rotation, and I'll show you the difference. So, high bridge is where I lift my hips up and I'm coming into more of a back bend position. Low bridge is where I keep the hips lower and push the hips and knees forward. So this will look a bit more like this. So I would encourage you to try both. One of them will probably be easier for you to access depending on your mobility and strength. So give them both a go. They're both useful to work on. Okay, if you're working your rotations on the floor, but you're not quite up to going all the way around, then you can do a half rotation. So starting in the squat, reach back with the hand, heel down. We reach around with the other hand and come back as far as you can, and then returning out the same way, back to the squat. Then you'll do the other side. Okay, so you can use a wall for this one, just to increase the height of the movement and then gradually work your way down to the floor. So a couple of steps out from the wall, you'll reach back, same thing as we do on the floor, fingertips face away, a little bit of softness through the knees. Then we sweep the arm across the body, start to rotate on the heel of the hand, take the other heel of the hand down and rotate to the other side. Then we come back the opposite way. Okay, next we have our 4-point toe touches. So I find this one a bit better with socks on a slippery floor, or you can also just do this on a carpet or use a towel as well for your feet. You can also do it without, it's totally up to you. I just find it a little bit easier to slide along the floor. So here you're going to come up onto one leg and point the other foot out in front of you. Here the arms are going to come up overhead as you start to slide that foot as far forward as you can, reaching the arms in the opposite direction. Sliding it all the way back in, and then we slide it out to the side. So foot reaches out, arms go the other way, keeping the torso as upright as you can, and then slide it all the way back in. Now foot goes back, top of the foot on the floor, arms reach forward, coming down as far as possible, and sweep it all the way back in. Now we're going across the body with the foot, sliding across, arms opposite, and pull it all the way back in. Nice. Other side. Toes touch forward, arms up. Slide forward as far as you can, reaching back with the upper body. And up, out to the side, arms reach across. Just watch that bent knee doesn't cave in or out. We're going back. And out to the side. So now we're going to do handstand wall climbs. So for this one, you will need access to a wall. If you don't have that, I'll give a modification for without. So coming onto all fours and facing away from the wall and just experimenting with the distance so that you can come up into a plank position and you'll be able to press the feet up against the wall. So to start with, press the hands into the floor firmly so that we get that protraction or rounding through the shoulder blades, and then depress the scaps, so pulling the shoulders away from the ears. Tucking the pelvis under, finding that nice hollow body line. Then we step up onto the wall to find our plank. From here, we start walking back, maintaining that nice hollow body position, walking in as close as you can towards the wall. Then we reverse, starting to walk out. Coming all the way back to our start position. And back to plank. If the first option is a little bit too advanced, you're not able to quite get there yet, then you'll start by regressing the movement. Here you can still start in your plank position, but you can just take the feet a little bit further up the wall to start. So you might take them a little bit higher to the point when then you can just press up and find your plank position there. Walk in, but you don't walk in quite as far, and then walk back out to your starting position and come down. Then you can gradually progress by starting with the feet lower and walking in further towards the wall. If both of those options are still a little bit too much or you don't have access to a wall, then we're just going to do some plank walks to build up the strength to come to the wall. So here you're just going to come into a plank position, keeping the scapula depressed, so shoulders away from the ears, and protracted, rounded through the shoulder blades. Then from here, we're just going to walk the hands one at a time. So lift, 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 keeping the shoulders over the wrists and just walking in place. Notice I'm rotating as little as possible, so we're not rotating out to the side like this. Keeping that pelvis tucked under so that we're not allowing that lower back to dip. Keeping the hips and chest face down towards the floor. To progress from the floor, you'll just try adding a little bit of height to the feet. So a block or a step, whatever you have handy. Then you'll come up into your plank position with the feet elevated. Same thing here, tuck the pelvis, depress and protract the scapula, and you do your walks here. Gradually adding height until you feel comfortable to come up onto the wall. Our next movement is a step behind. So from this one, you're going to start in a squat position as low as you can, depending on your level of mobility. Here we're going to reach the arms out to one side as you start to lift up out of the squat, take the weight into that same foot as the hands, and then point the other toe out like you're dipping the toe into a cold pond, check the temperature. From here, you'll sink that heel down, start to rotate across to the other side, sweep the arms, come up onto the toe of the other foot, then hooking that knee behind the calf and sweeping all the way down back into the squat. If you find this one really tough, you just stay as high as you need to keep going. So that can be really high. Maybe you start in a very high squat and you do stay quite high on the legs. That's fine, but we're still keeping that quality of the movement. Gradually, you'll be able to progress further down towards the floor. A couple of things here. When you're starting with this, don't worry too much about the arms. And the other thing is we want to stay as low as possible throughout the movement, just coming up as high as you need to transition across. So as you come up, you just come up high enough out of the squat as you need to be able to step that foot. Touch the toe first, and then plant the heel before you start moving across. Come up onto that toe, then step behind. Start to sink back down as low as you can, back into the squat. The thing with this one is to try and keep the torso as upright as possible. So the whole time we're thinking about being long and upright through the spine rather than leaning forward down to the floor. So with this one, you'll naturally alternate sides if you just keep progressing in the same direction.